glad to have you here. At this time, please like, share, and follow us on all major platforms. Be sure to subscribe and turn on your notifications so that you don't miss us on Mondays, Wednesdays, or Fridays at 5:30-ish p.m. Central Standard Time. As a disclaimer, we here at ASC do not own any of the rights to samplings, songs, or videos played during our broadcast. Also, be aware of our adult content disclaimer. Please note that you must be 18 or older to watch or to participate in this podcast. We personally prefer 25 and older because sometimes you're just stupid. The topics and opinions discussed here are for entertainment purposes only. If they help you in some way, that's great. Be sure and leave us a review. If you don't like it, leave. If it hits too close to home, deal with it or leave. We said what we said. Now that all in hearts and minds are clear, please enjoy our show.
Mercedes, how's your day going?
Man,
It's
excellent.
Monday. Well, we're starting off. Everybody, I think Sierra will be here shortly. I hope Beverly and them check in. Rock is definitely going to be absent today. Rock, we're praying for you. Um, how's your Monday going, sir? First off,
Busy as hell. Oh my God. It seemed like everybody in the world needed help today. It was so annoying. I'm so
hey
tired.
Crystal, how you doing, baby? Love you, woman. Man, I don't even think I don't know if we can cover it as long as we need to cover it, but I believe we can. This is a serious topic. So today's topic is dealing with death in 2021. Um, if if any of y'all been dealing with death, we would like to know how you've been dealing with it. How is it going? This is a mental check for all of us, each and every one of us, for my crew members, for all the people that watch our podcast and everything. I know between the last 2 years, we've all lost a lot of people. And with coming with losing a lot of people comes with a lot of emotion, a lot of sad, a lot of anger, a lot of different emotions that we don't know how to check. Um, the reason why we brought this topic up last year, and we had a house full, and we talked about it for probably about an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes. It was different then because we thought COVID was over this year.
Phew,
Of
it
course,
went nowhere.
COVID is reared as it head right back up in our face. And then we're dealing with the real world that we always deal with. Our younger generation is dying at a rapid rate. The people that's my age, we're dying unexpectedly because we don't take proper care of ourselves. We don't go to the doctor. We don't do the things that we're supposed to do a lot of times. And we don't even know that we have any issues. So just like catching COVID, we don't know we have an underlying condition inside of our black community. And that's been statistics have shown when it first came out, we thought we was fine and we weren't. We was dying at a rapid rate. So with that being said, we're here today to do a mental check and find out here how everybody deals with death and what are some good ways that we can deal with death if we can help each other out. Because I know when I lost my mom, that was my downfall. I disconnected from family, wife, everybody. I didn't know how to process it. I didn't know how to tell people what I was dealing with and what I was feeling. I again, you only lose a mom once. So in my life, I had dealt with death at so many levels, but not at that level. And it
Mm.
was probably the worst. August 16th will always be the worst day of my life. Period. August 16th will never change for me. I don't care what happens on that day. It can never, ever change. That day will always be stuck in my head. I'll always remember it. And like I said, it's probably my lowest point in my life. So that's the reason why this topic was brought up because we had it last year, and I think it's time to do another mental check. Um, so Mercedes, let's start with you. Um, how are you doing in this battle with death and what's going on around us?
Mm. Man, it's absolutely ghetto. I think the aliens should just come invade us and call it a day because I'm so over it. It's so ghetto out here. We I miss the normalcy of my routine. I miss just having a normal day. Hey Sierra, I miss having just, doing normal stuff like, and it's so funny that it took a pandemic for us to realize what we truly gave up, what we truly lost. And just the simple things of what you're not being able to do. And I think everybody kind of post pandemic is dealing with some sense of grief because you lost your routine, you lost what was a sense of normalcy to you. So kind of grieving a loved one and grieving what you were once used to just not so long ago is probably go hand in hand almost, because one side you're dealing with grief from someone who's no longer here that you had years to deal with, and on the other side you're grieving something that you may have been able to do just a few months ago. And now, and every day it keeps changing, and you hear all this new information, false information, and you're just living in constant fear for your loved ones because you don't know if they're going to pass away from this or what's going to happen to them, or it's based off the actions of what the masses do. So I think we're all kind of in a weird place right now mentally. And everyone's processing it differently. But in regards to grief by itself, how I deal with it, I try to take it a day at a time. Because I struggle with mental illness, I have to already kind of do mental exercises to keep myself calm and to make sure I take my meds and be some type of responsible. So I think when dealing with grief, it's like I kind of approach it the same way. Just take it a day at a time, focus on what I can do, focus on what I can change, and not try to let my emotions get the best of me and, you know, suffer the side effects of that.
But let me ask you a question. Are there days that your emotions get the best of you because of grief, because of death?
It used to, like earlier on, before I got medicine and medicated, before I took therapy and everything, I used to handle grief like anyone else would. You're withdrawn, you don't want to eat, you can't sleep, you're sad all the time, lashing out. You're letting your personal relationships deteriorate because you're so sad. Um, but I think after a while and just kind of developing those skill sets and talking to a therapist, it helped me kind of realize things I can do when I feel myself slipping off the edge.
Man, I've never heard it put that way. I never even thought about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's ways to deal with your emotions intelligently. And that's kind of what therapy teaches you. It doesn't teach you that, oh, you're wrong because you feel this way or something's wrong with you. They instead teach you how to self reflect and cope with how you feel so that you're not a danger to yourself or others.
When it comes to death, is there somebody that you lean on?
I meditate and pray a lot. I'm not religious, but I do pray a lot. Um, I like to believe that there's a higher power, so I'm more spiritual than religious. So I do pray a lot. And I have those conversations because those are the only times I truly feel like I can be transparent with myself and that spirit. So I meditate a lot. I'll talk to my friends and family, but it's not the same because sometimes people can't always relate to what you're going through, and they may have their own different processes. So just to avoid me getting frustrated by that, I'll just pray about it.
Okay. What about your father? Do you ever talk to him about it?
My dad's not very emotional, so that's probably where I get that from too. He
Oh,
doesn't really show a lot of emotion. He may be sad about something, but you wouldn't know.
you wouldn't know, he don't show it.
He doesn't show emotion a lot.
Well, like I said, in an up and coming couple of weeks, we bringing back that mental check, because what your father, me, and Rock said on live that day is that we don't express that. We don't actually, we check on our women, but we don't allow our women to check on us. We don't give them that vital information so they can definitely know that we're okay. So
Yeah.
I do know what you said, because after talking to your father, I do notice that, like you said, his emotions, he has them in check very well.
Yeah, my dad is a very blunt, direct kind of person to the point. He's very matter of factly. He's not the emotions
So
type.
how does have you over the years have you watched him deal with that? Because I'm pretty sure he's watched a lot. He's had a lot of people die in his life probably. So I mean somebody close, like you said, your great grandmother and somebody else.
My great grandmother was his grandmother that raised him.
Ooh,
So his grandmother raised him. So she died when we were living out here. So I mean, I think he drove back or flew back immediately once he heard that she had passed. And I wasn't there to see how that affected him. I wouldn't know. I didn't know if he cried or anything. He just came back like it happened, and he was cool. But I never saw him break down because of that. But I knew that had to hurt him a lot because that was the woman who actually raised him.
see, that's my thing is that we go on through it and like I'll be honest, until I opened up about my mom's death, until I really started telling some of my friends and started telling some people that I really entrusted that wouldn't, like you said, sit there and judge me or not try to understand me, that would just listen. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? I don't need you to always respond. I just need you to listen on how I feel right now and what's going through my head and what's my emotions at, how I'm here and there and everywhere. You know what I'm saying? And when I sit down and start talking to some of my friends it started opening me up and it started allowing me to actually breathe. I mean, I used to not be able to even talk about my mom and dad without breaking. I'm having a hard time now. But
Oh.
it's when you raised by your best friend, and like I say, my mama was definitely my mama. She checked me when I needed to be checked. But when you raised by your best friend, um, like I said, I got a lot of friends in life, but nobody's more dear to me than my mom because everything in my life she's done. Everything in my life she did better for me. Everything. There was nothing that she didn't. She played traced her whole life over me. And I was born during a different time, so that's a whole other topic for another day. But just know, like I said, my mom's white, and my dad's black, and in '73 that wasn't allowed. So everything that my mama took on, she took on the weight of the world, and I appreciate it. So that's why I said the day that I lost her, it'll never change. August 16th will always be that day that you probably don't ever hear from me. Like I said, none of y'all heard from me on August 16th. You probably won't hear from me on August 16th. That's my day of being alone and just reminiscing.
What is the best memory or the best advice your mom gave you?
Oh man. Um, my mom used to get on me, and this is crazy because I'm about to let some secrets out, and I apologize to my sister for this because even though she's not going to be hurt because that's not her anymore. My mom was real hard on me, real hard on me, and I mean I couldn't smoke weed in her house, or anything. But my sister dealt with a crack addiction early on, and she's older than me. She dealt with a crack addiction, and my mom brought her into her house, and believe it or not, my mom told me she was gonna love her through her crack addiction. I said, no, there's no way. She Tina's out there, blah 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 blah. And my mom told me, she said, no, I'm gonna do it. She loved her through it, but when I say loved her through it, I mean really loved her through it to where one day my sister woke up and flushed her crack and never done any drugs like that since that day. And I praised my mama because I've never seen nothing like it. But one day I had to ask her, Mama, why are you so freaking hard on me? Why in the fuck do little things that I do piss you off so goddamn much? Like, damn, I work my ass off. I do everything I'm supposed to do, everything you asked of me as far as taking care of my family, loving my wife, doing everything that you taught me and you instilled in me. I do it. And my mama gave me the best parenting advice that she ever gave me. She told me, she said, I want you to understand something. Um, as your kids get older, you will start knowing your kids. And she said, if I die today, I'm not worried about you. I'm not worried about your struggle. I'm not worried about anything. I know you're gonna make it. It pisses me off because you make those mistakes. I know your sister's older. Some kids need a little bit more nourishment, a little bit more love until they catch it. And she said, just remember that when you're raising your kids. And I feel like that was the best advice my mama ever gave me because the reality of it is your kids are all different. And your oldest one might not catch it as young as she need to catch it. You might need to nourish her a little bit more and help her out a little bit more and do more for her. At the same time, you're probably a little bit hard on that one. Like TJ, when TJ messes up, I'm on his ass, and I understand the reason why. And I had that talk with him early so he would understand. But he's one that don't like to let me and his mom down. So again, like I said, that was to me, that was some of the best parenting advice that my mom could ever give me because I could never understand why she was hard. My sisters got it easy, but me, man, I was hard. My mom was hard on me. I mean, trust me, my mom was hard on me. And then, like I said, when it came to my kids, she told me a long time ago, if they're yours, you better take care of them. So I take care of my kids to this day, not because of obligation or anything, because I scared my mama gonna beat my ass one day if I shut down and don't do what I was supposed to do. So that's the real reason why I keep handling my business. But yeah,
Aren't you
that's
in
why I said
the middle?
she my mom was in my life and she was active, and I don't mean sometime active, I mean all the way active. Up until the week before she passed, she was living with me. And we both went through surgeries and stuff and slept in the same bed together because I couldn't get upstairs. So, like I said, my mom was my best friend. You know what I'm saying? I could tell her anything, and no matter what, she would always give me the realest answer, no matter what, even if it hurt. And that's what I loved about her was she was genuine. Her love was real. It's hard. I can truly say as a man, I don't want no woman like my mama, but I want that genuine love that my mama gave me from my woman. If it ain't genuine, move the fuck around. My mama love was genuine, it was always consistent. It never changed. And that's why I tell all about everybody. In most cases, yeah, there's not a love like a mother's love. I'm a father and I'm proud of the father that I am, but no, I don't think I can love my kids more than Chandra loves. So I mean that's just me because a mother love is way deeper. She had to nourish that child for 9 months and take care of it. So I believe when anybody loses a mother, I believe you really go through a major struggle. Like you said, even though your grandmother didn't go through the struggle, she raised your dad. So with that being said, I know inside, and I know he probably had his breaking point at some point. He just don't let y'all see it. You
Right.
know, a lot of strong people don't like to let people see them at that weak point.
What
Yeah,
about
all
you,
right.
Sarah?
How you doing, sweetheart? You, we ready for you. Are you coming in and talk to us today?
I'm good.
Mental check, man.
Girl,
How
don't you
you doing?
over here?
How you?
Did you see her turn her head and stare at us like
Let's
Scar from
get
Life?
out of here.
Yeah.
Of course, I've only lost two people who've been close to me in my entire life. The first one, as you know, was my former fiance. Um, and last week made 7 years since his funeral, and I still struggle with that. And I think it's more of a shock more than anything
Yeah, I remember that.
because of the way it happened. He would never get in the pool around me. I'd say, "Hey, babe, let's go swimming." No, but the one day I wasn't with him, he decided to go for a swim and got stuck at the bottom of the pool because there were no lights and the drain wasn't fixed, so it pulled him down and caused him to drown. And I still see his face at the hospital, or I can see me having that whole out of body experience when I went to the room. Um, I remember I touched his hand and I ran down the hallway out the hospital into a bridge as far away as I could, so nobody could find me. Um, I still hear the screams from his family. It was just harrowing, and it still seems to like a dream. But then I look at the pictures from the funeral. Um, I look at the dance that I did at his funeral, and reality sets in. Like,
You
damn,
know, I
really?
forget. I forget that you
How did I do
dance.
this?
Let me
How did
ask you
I
a
get to
serious
this?
question. Let me ask you a
And all I
serious
can say
question.
is nothing but faith, God, and a lot of prayer. And my
Okay, well, yeah,
family,
I
of
think
course, and his family. Me and his family are still close.
you answered my question
Matter of
just then.
fact, his mom's birthday was yesterday. Happy birthday, Mama Anna. Forgot to call you. Sorry. Um, so yeah, August is a tough month for me because of all of that. And then Valentine's Day. Mm, Valentine's Day was his birthday. So that will always be a struggle too. And then of course, this year I lost my grandmother. Matter of fact, I sleep under my grandmother's blanket every single night. Um, her room is downstairs, and it still pains me to go into that room because I can see her just laying in the bed and talking about how cold she was and giving me all the scenarios in her head that she saw. And she was in a dark forest before she died, and it was not easy to deal with either. My mom and my aunt still cry all the time, and I keep that door closed because I can't go in there unless I just really have to. Because her picture's still hanging. Her um, all of her stuff is still here. As a matter of fact, in my room, all of her clothes are on my bed right now because the rack fell. But I know she's still in this house because a lot of things, strange things have happened. Like right after her death, um, I was making some pho and I was chopping up the vegetables and everything to go in the pho. Well, my grandmother loved onions, so I was chopping the onion and then a piece of onion fell on the floor. I mean, fell in the sink. Really? That's what we do? Oh, okay. That was one thing. Um, 2:16 in the morning was when I got the phone call that she wasn't going to make it. So 2:16, the night after the funeral, the vase my mother-in-law sent with flowers fell over. The glass didn't break. The water just spilled. And we've had a lot of other weird stuff. Like the other night, my aunt was sitting in the kitchen, and the cabinet was open, and all of a sudden it just slammed shut. So
See,
it just kind of calms me to know that her spirit is still here, but angers me how she passed away and she didn't have to. Because the doctors killed her.
well, like you said, it's being unexpected on most cases is hard, but watching your loved ones pass is even hard.
I can't hear you, Thomas.
Okay, hold on, I'm coming back in.
That's got to be so tough to deal with. So
Oh,
how do you deal with celebrating Valentine's Day with your husband, knowing that's such a significant day? Oh, you're on mute. Mm-mm-mm. 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 Oh, Tanya, don't be crying like a baby. And then there was just me. Why they leave me with this topic? Lord knows I do not know how to deal with grief. I have not an ounce of a clue. Good Lord Jesus. Fucking around with me, we gonna start listening to James Brown and a bunch of 70s music. We gonna chirp around here. Cause when I get sad, I eat, read books, watch TV, exercise, productive stuff. Cause that's what you gotta do when you deal with sadness. You gotta find something to occupy your mind, or else it's gonna consume you. Man, my day is going pretty good. I'm off of work. I'm not dealing with them people harassing me. Whew. Lord Jesus, I am so relieved. It was such a long day today. And now they got me sitting here talking to myself at a screen. And I ain't got no type of controls, no nothing. Tanya, you know I live for the gym.
I'm sorry.
It's
I
okay.
apologize. I had to go. I had to get my other
Talk-
damn phone. I don't know what. Huh?
I was sitting here talking to the people. I think Sierra had got a call or something and she had left.
Okay. Well, we're back. I apologize, y'all. My phone gave me some problems today, and it, it definitely is tripping. But I was before Sierra left. I hope she comes back. I wanted to find out, because I definitely one of the hardest things was me and my sister. Like we never really talked about the death,
Mm-hmm.
and even though my mom was gone, my sister sit there, like when my mom on August 9th, I got the phone call that something went wrong and I need to get to Waco. So me and my Janae and my sister, we drove down to Waco. And going down to Waco, we on the way down to Waco, we got there, and when I seen my mama, I knew that my mama wasn't there anymore. I looked at her, I mean, I knew she wasn't there. And I was her power of attorney, which was one of the hardest things of anything because I had already told my mom, I'd never pulled the plug on her, but she told me when the decision would be made, I would be ready to make the decision. And she was right. When I walked in and I seen her, I I immediately, I looked at her for 5 minutes and I walked, I walked out. I told my sister that if all the results come back what I think they're gonna come back, then I'm gonna do what my mom wished for me to do. Well, a few days passed and we pulled the plug, and um, I think I came back on that Friday and we pulled the plug, and she ended up passing on that Sunday. Well, my sister had been sitting there with her for the whole week, and
Okay.
I've never been able to have that conversation with my sister to see how she feel, how she dealt with it. You know what I'm saying? She had to sit there and watch my mom pass. When I got the phone call, it was her that called my phone at 4 something in the morning, let me know mama's gone. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I just don't, she deals with it just as bad as I do, and I still don't know how to have that conversation with her, not without breaking down.
Do you think to help you heal, you may want to talk with her about it?
I do. I mean, I want us to have that conversation because to be honest with you, I mean, I want her to know that I love her, because she's my rock. You know what I'm saying? My sister been through everything with me, and I love her for who she is. Um, but one of the hardest things for me is when I would look at my sister, she looks just like my mom. She looks
Mm.
just like my mom. That's one of the hardest things in the world is for me to look at my sister. I try my best, but as I look at her, the more I look at her, different angles, and then she makes faces like my mama and everything. So it's a difficult thing with me and my sister sit down. Don't get me wrong, I love to be around my sister because, like I said, she out of no disrespect to any of my siblings. I love all of y'all, but y'all know Tina's my heart. Period. Tina's my heart. I always will.
Everybody, that's like I tell people, like parents don't necessarily have their favorites. They just have their kids who they bond with more. Kind of like siblings.
Yeah,
The love is the same, but you just bond with this sibling or this parent more. That's where that
exactly.
favoritism thing stems from.
Because until me and Chandra split up, me and Gavin wasn't as close as we are now. Sorry, I had to cut my Bluetooth.
Yeah,
Sierra, are you
because you
back?
dipped out. Go ahead,
Are you?
Thomas.
Yeah.
Can you can you hear me? Look like she froze up on
Hmm.
us. Okay, there you go.
No, I'm here.
What I was gonna
Not
ask you
moving.
was before I went off a while ago was I wanted to know how was it for you, because I mean you said when when your grandmother started going, when she started getting ready to pass, that you got to watch it pretty much as far over the progression. How was that for you? Because I still had to deal with it with my mom, and I still don't know how to have that conversation with her.
Um, I will say it was easier than I thought because, of course, I had gone through it with my job at the time. Um, some patients have been there for a long time, and they finally died like the day they were supposed to discharge. Like, I guess I tried to separate the fact that it was my grandmother and just make it a regular patient. Either way, it wasn't easy, but my grandmother was sarcastic a lot of times, so some of the stuff she said, I was like, okay, did she make this up? Did this medication do this? Because of course I was her caretaker for about a week and a half before she was sent back to the hospital. Um, so hearing her cry and she asked me, why am I doing this to her? Hey, go over there.
Why you
5,
said that to her?
4. Um, like I had to change her, and she had all of these bed sores from the nursing home she was staying in,
Mm.
and they were terrible. And I had to change her dressings, clean her up. She had an accident. She had been completely incontinent at that time. So you had to change her pamper. I had to lift her. I had to change her sheets, and it was a lot. And I got through it. But my mom, my aunt, I guess they were less understanding because I guess because it's their mom, so they didn't expect her to act the way she did. I don't know.
Mm.
That's so
So
crazy.
so Crystal said she was her caretaker too. She was at home with her. Um,
Hmm.
Again, my mom dealt with health issues, but we didn't know she was about, we didn't know she went to the hospital a lot, but like they didn't say she was like deathly ill or anything like that at the time. Um, but when she went to the hospital in Waco, I just thought it was one of those visits. And then to get the phone call that, she went without oxygen for 20 minutes. And,
Mm.
and, when I walked in, I mean, I've had friends drown when I was younger and stuff like that. I know what oxygen not getting to the brain is going to do to you. You know what I'm saying? And do I want at the state that she's probably going to come back at? No, I don't want a fraction of my mom. I want all of my mom. If she's not here, I want all of her. I don't know if that's selfish to me. That's what she wanted too. She said, like she told me, I don't want to be hooked up to machines. I don't want no machines having to keep me alive. If they tell you that there's nothing that they can do what you got. It wasn't it wasn't a hard decision. It was hard as hell because my sisters was taking it so hard. My adopted sister depression and my sister Tina, they took it hard. And Tina accepted it, but Precious just wasn't ready to accept it. And I can understand she's the baby. You know what I'm saying? But like I told them, me and Precious, I think probably about a year to where Precious wasn't mad at me, but you could tell it was different with our relationship. You know what I'm saying? And I could tell it was different relationship. Until we sit down and we had that talk, and like I told her, it wasn't about me or you. It has nothing to do with me or you. The decision that I made was the decision that our mom wanted, and that's what happened at that point in time. We want. So I respect anybody that can sit there and be with somebody and watch somebody, their loved one, pass away. Neither of my parents wanted to be on TV, so they weren't. I mean, I respect. I never thought I could do it. Me and my mama had to talk. She sit down and she was like, "I want to put you overseer," and I'm like, "I just, Mama, I'm not pulling the plug on you. I'm not doing that." And she just looked at me and she was honest and she said, "Look, I know you're gonna make the right decision when it's time." She said, "I just need you to know, having a fraction of me or me hooked up to a machine, somebody has to keep me alive is not me. If I'm not a whole, if I'm not able to sit up here and talk shit and do what I do, then let me go." And that's exactly how she put it. Because my mom, you know what I'm saying? She said what she had to say and she didn't care how anybody took it. And I was okay with that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, to walk in there and see her lying there, and I've seen my mom hooked up to machines like that before because she had quadruple bypass. So when she first come out of when she come out of that, she got all the tubes and everything. Like she's almost dead. You know what I'm saying? But we know what she just had. She's gonna come back from that. You know what I'm saying? This time it was different. Like I said, when I walked in there, it was I ever seen. And I told my sister, "You're not gonna tell me that mom exists in that. She's not there." My mom would have squeezed my hand. My mom would have talked. My mom would have responded to me. And the doctors confirmed it. So I look back at it. I ain't gonna lie. For the first year, I had a lot of regret. We had a church member, the exact same thing happened to his brother, and they didn't pull the plug on him, and he made it through, and it made me question my decision for months. I mean, he got up on his testimony, and I was proud for his testimony, but it felt so bad. Like if I'd have waited, could she have pulled through? But then I just kept telling myself, and with a lot of prayer, like Mercedes says, um, it made me understand my mom's wishes was her wishes, and I
Yeah.
can't take back and I can't regret what she wanted done. She wanted done.
Well, she gave you explicit instructions and you follow them. And that
Huh?
itself is even hard. I said she gave you explicit instructions. And that
Yeah.
in itself was difficult to do because you didn't have to do it. You could have refused and said no, but you honored her wishes. So the fact that you respected her memory and what she wanted was probably the best and strongest thing you've ever done.
Yeah, but if I could just hear her say Tommy Lynn one more time, I'd be all right. That's why I
Death,
tell everybody.
death is hard. I think the only good thing about grieving in 2021 is that we have camera phones and we have pictures that we can save on our phones and different iCloud devices forever. I think that's about the only good thing that comes out of that. Because when someone passes, all you have is their memories and their lessons.
Remember the lessons, and the lessons is what always goes through your head the most, especially when you get in situations. It's very easy to remember a loved one when you're going through something, especially
Hmm.
an impactful one in your life. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what anybody says. Sierra, like you said, little things make you think about your grandmother because that's who she is. You know certain things about it that other people don't know, and it makes sense to you. And I still have that issue. People tell me all the time my house is haunted, and I tell them, well, the only person that's going to be haunting this house is she's okay. She's okay because I know one thing: she ain't gonna never hurt me. So I don't. Like I tell everybody, I don't know. I don't know me myself. I don't know how to deal with death no other way but to shut down my whole life. But with my mom, I shut down the hardest, and I still shut down with death. I've had two die in the last year. Um, numerous friends, friends lost grandkids, kids, everything. Um, The worst thing, like I said, Mercedes, is to sit there and look in somebody's face and tell them you know what they're dealing with. I never tell nobody that. And the reason why I don't tell nobody because I don't know what they're going through. I don't. You might say how you feel about your mom. I love my mom today, but you might not feel the same that I feel about my mom. You know what I'm saying? And
Damn, sure don't.
I have to respect how you feel about your mom. It ain't about how I feel about mom, it's about how you feel about your mom. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, I'm just here to listen because at the end of the day, that's what we're supposed to be friends for. I'm not here to judge your situation. I'm not here to make it worse. I'm definitely not here to give you too much advice because I can't tell you how to really channel it, take it in, process it, and deal with it every day because I can't do it.
Yeah, that's tough. That's one thing I'll never try to tell somebody what to do, like how to grieve. Like I can give you some tips and tricks on how to make your day easier, how to make it better, but I can't tell you ultimately how to grieve. That's like a unique journey for everyone because you don't know how much this person means to them. You don't know what they've been through. You don't know their mental status at the time. It's a lot of stuff that goes in with grief.
That's the truth, and that's the hard. It's I don't know. Grieving the grieving part is the hardest part because, like I said, some people sit up there and look and be like, "Oh, they don't have emotions," so some people think he's grieving, but he is. He's grieving his own way, and I have to respect how he grieves. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like I said, my ex-wife's mom is the exact same way. I've seen that woman deal with death on so many levels, and she's always strong. Never, hardly ever cries. Hardly ever. I mean, you never see her break down. I used to be like, she is so strong, but I know inside, there's some grieving going on. Whether she's lost fathers and I mean, definitely uncles and aunts and very close people to her. And she just stands up like you said. Your father, she don't show no emotion.
It's tough. Um, I think, the stronger the person is, the heavier their heart is. Cause you're so busy not living for yourself, always trying to make sure everyone else is okay. And those are probably the people that you really need to check on and make sure they're okay. Because sometimes strong people don't know how to allow support. They don't know how to lean on other people. So when they do hit rock bottom, they totally collapse.
And see, that's what today is. Remember, they always say, Mercedes shows up for the week. Everybody shows up for the months and the years that matters. And that's what we're doing today. A mental check with all our people and making sure that you're okay because the reality is that's just it. And we're still processing it. And if you're not, we like I said, Crystal, me and you talk about how you deal with death all the time, and it's hard on you. I mean, all I can do is listen. Because I deal with it. I'm trying to figure this thing out.
I feel like if I could deal with this finale of Game of Thrones, I could deal with life the way.
Are you there?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Even the strong get weak sometimes. It's true. It's true. But after some weeks of grieving, do you talk about process it better and get through it? Because I have learned since I have opened up and I talk about death more and what hurts me about my mom's death. I've gotten better with it. I mean, it hasn't gone away. August 16th doesn't change. But her birthday, you know what I'm saying? Her birthday is easier. And holidays are easier. August 16th just won't change. The rest of it's gotten easier. You know what I'm saying? I used to have it for the first 3 one of the hardest days of my life because I never went without talking to my mom. But her birthday was always special to me because that was my day to be able to read, you know what I'm saying? And I didn't get to do that. That was the hardest thing in the world for me. So I would shut down and my sister would call me. It was my birthday and I'd be like, I'm not doing nothing. I'm not doing nothing. And I felt like I got to disconnect with my sister there that time. She was trying to celebrate my mom's life, and I was still grieving my mom. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yep.
So I don't know. I mean, I've dealt with it. I've dealt with it much. I'm 48 years old, going on 50, and I'll be honest,
How
I'm
you
tired of it.
skip
But the
2
only
years?
thing, huh?
How you just skip 2 years? You don't want 49, 50?
I ain't 50 yet, y'all. I ain't 50 yet, but I'm headed there. I'm headed there. But I will tell you this: I'm tired. But the hardest thing in the world is that we know is the only thing we was promised when we was born. Is the rest of it is up to us. How we live our life in life and death. So that's why, again, like I said, I have too many friends that still talk about, I've had friends over there trying to talk more about the deaths that they deal with. My brother Berto, he talk about it, and it makes it a little bit better because we get a good laugh. So you're able, like you said, Mercedes, you're able to sit there and process and be able to have opportunity to do the good things, not the bad things. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, when Berto comes over here, he always high sides and talks about my mom when she it makes it easier. But again, it doesn't go away. So mental check. And as we get ready, I okay. Because the reality of it is, we know death can be hard on y'all. And Crystal, you just dealt with a death just recently, and you dealt with some deaths here recently, unexpected ones too. Um, and, and again, we're just we get on here every week. They think we don't want healthy relationships, but we do. We talk about all of this happens in relationships because of what we've been through. But at the end of the day, all of us want a relationship that resembles something that we want, not something that y'all think that y'all want to see, something that we want. But during this time, we've definitely got a friendship that we get on here every week and we talk with y'all. We have fun and we laugh and we have a good time. But during that time, Mercedes and everybody over the last few weeks, I can't remember, but they've been challenging us to bring other things to the screen that also that people are dealing with. And this is one thing that I feel like all of us have dealt with in the last 2 years. We lost somebody. And the hardest part about it is sometimes we don't have nobody to talk to and tell them how we feel. Because some people think, oh, get over it. How many times have y'all heard that, oh, get over it? It might be 6 months to you, but it was yesterday for me. Do you agree, Mercedes?
Yeah, I agree.
So, your final thoughts today as we get ready to check out on these people.
My final thoughts would be there's no way to prepare you for what may be incredible pain you'll experience when you lose someone close to you. But what I can say is set up a support system. Um, find out who your people are. People who times that you need them. Find out what makes you happy when you're sad or when you feel like you can't go on. Because when things like that to you, it's best to kick in that support to try to surround yourself with love in one of your darkest times. Because you never know when it'll happen. You'll never know when it'll hit. Somewhat prepared to kind of ease the blow of it all and to try to shorten the grieving period. Sometimes it's not good to be stuck in a dark place for a long time. You know, it's person to person. I can't tell y'all what to do, but I can tell you to, you know, try to figure out what you can do if something like that would happen. Just prep for it because that'll make things smooth, hopefully.
I totally agree. I really don't have much more to say. Best. Um, Definitely get you somebody to talk to. Get somebody that you can count on. Get you somebody that you know truly has your best interest. Somebody that's not there to give you all their advice and think how they should handle it. That understand that this is your process. Like Mercedes said earlier, this is your process. I have to understand your process. It's not me dealing with it like you're dealing with it. So I need to understand your process, and I need to know how you what you're thinking and what your way of getting out of it. You know, if somebody's talking about suicide, you have to allow somebody to grieve. You said it best. Everybody grieves differently, and don't judge somebody on how they grieve. They lost somebody. You don't grieve. You know, like Mercedes' father, he might not break down and cry, but I guarantee you don't look over there and judge the man that is crying. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody is different. That's the hard part. But if you don't have nobody, find them. Find somebody that you know that you can sit down and just have that talk with. You know what I'm saying? Because I know it's still coming. COVID is back. A lot of life right now. Um, Y'all have to get back in our face. Death isn't going anywhere. That's the only thing that was promised to us when we was born. How we live our life can determine how we go. People always say there's a time and a date. I don't believe that anymore. I do not believe that. Is if you live your life in the fast lane, sometimes you die faster than what you're supposed to do. And we've seen that in life. No ifs, ands, and buts about it. There's no way you can get up there at somebody's funeral and say, "Oh, they took his life before time," or you get somebody from murder. They took his life before time. Oh no! If he took his life before time, I mean he wasn't supposed to die. So with that being said, I believe that all of us know the time and date when we go. I've seen too many old people, like Sierra said earlier. She started seeing visions. My grandfather and all of them, they've seen vision. My grandfather kissed my grandmother and told my cousin and my grandmother, kissed them good night. Was gone. So oh, you just tripping. That's what my cousin told him. And no, he wasn't tripping. He was leaving. He was on his way out, and he said that. You know what I'm saying? So again, today was just a mental check. We love all of y'all. We thank y'all for continuously following us. And come back and just come in here and let y'all, some of y'all let talk y'all lives just like we talk our lives on the screen. So we thank y'all. But if y'all dealing with something, there's something I didn't. I'll be honest, but there are grieving hotlines that you can call. But the only part about it is I feel like it's robotic. I feel like you need to get somebody who knows you and knows how to deal with you, because death is not something that's gonna stop. It's gonna keep coming. So we need to learn how to deal with it on the regular. We have our affairs in order for our families. I want to say this before we leave. In our black community, far too many times we don't have money to put our family away sometimes, and that's a burden on the family. No disrespect to anybody when I said my mom passed and she didn't have nothing in place. But the reality of it is that at this time in my life, I'm preparing to make sure that my kids don't have to deal with that. Dealing with all the extra is even harder. So I encourage everybody out there, even though we believe we're gonna live forever, and make sure you got the right kids and right people in order that's gonna take care of you when the time comes. And what I mean by that is, yes, if they're able to see that knows your wishes. Do y'all have anything else to interject before we check out?
I do. I want to say, don't become numb to reality. Even as much as it hurts, you're still going to have to be able to accept it at some point. Also, good advice is to do your will now and get it to an attorney so all legal matters will be taken care of. So, like Thomas was saying, everything will be in place for that day, whenever it happens.
At least I know what mine was. When our grandparents were growing up, we never understood why that insurance man came by every month and picked up that money. But when grandma had nothing, nobody had to do nothing. Everything was planned out. A casket was bought. Where she was going to be laid, where Pawpaw was going to be laid. Everything was in order. We didn't have to worry. And somewhere along the way, we got off track. And whether we like it or not, it's time to get back on track because that's just is dealing with your death is even harder. I thank my sister Franchon for being there and riding with me and making sure that we was able to put my mom away the way she was. Like I said, I mean, and during that time, her mom a couple of weeks later. So I praise my sister for riding and having my back. Checking in with us. Find you somebody. We're always here. I mean, remember, we're not counselors or nothing, but we are y'all friends. And with it, we don't want you to always know that we can always bring this topic up and do a mental check. We can always talk to you in private. I talk to people in private, but of course, I don't talk to y'all. So I want y'all to know no funny games. The day's over. But we on our way out, man. I think Mercedes, you going to work out today?
Hell no. Yeah.
Miss Beverly told me about you and working out. She said, "Boy, you got it." She said, "Miss Mercedes, poop." I said, "What?" She said, "Yeah." Mercedes. So yeah, she gave you thumbs up. But hey, y'all, man, all right, out. It's Monday. We'll be back with a great topic.
Everybody want a bad girl, where the good ones at? Everybody want a bad girl, where the good ones at? Everybody want a bad girl, where the good ones at? Everybody want a bad girl, where the good ones at? Where the good ones at?
I'll even go to church with you. Sit on the front row. Say amen. And dab to the choir. Paying off